What if I told you there's a massive Social Security cut baked into the system, set to happen automatically? This isn't a political threat or some clickbait fantasy. It's the reality of the numbers, according to the Social Security Administration's own math. If Washington keeps kicking this can down the road, your benefits are on the line. In this video, we're cutting through the noise to show you exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and what you can actually do about it. This isn't about politics. It's just the numbers. You've seen the scary headlines and the YouTube thumbnails with giant red arrows, probably screaming that Social Security is going bankrupt. First things first, Social Security is not going bankrupt. It's not going to zero. Anyone who tells you that is either misinformed or trying to scare you. Here's the real story. What's confirmed isn't some new, dramatic law. It's an automatic trigger that's been part of Social Security's design for decades. This comes directly from the Social Security Trustees, who release a report card on the program's finances every year. And for years, that report card has come with a big, flashing warning sign. The latest reports project that the main fund for retirement benefits, the Old Age and Survivors Insurance, or OSI fund, will run out of its extra savings by 2033. Think of these savings as a giant rainy day fund. For decades, Social Security collected more than it paid out, building up this multi-trillion-dollar cushion. But that rainy day is here, and the fund is being drawn down. Social Security doesn't just stop. It keeps collecting payroll taxes from every working American. But here's the catch. By law, Social Security cannot pay out more than it brings in. Projections show that when the main retirement fund runs dry in 2033, incoming taxes will only be enough to cover about 77% to 78% of promised benefits. If you look at the combined funds for retirement and disability, they're projected to run low by 2034 or 2035, at which point they could cover about 81 to 83% of benefits. If nothing changes, retirees are staring down an automatic benefit cut of somewhere between 17% and 23%. It's not a political choice, it's just math. This isn't a problem for some far-off future generation. It affects today's retirees and everyone planning to retire soon. Why is a program that's been the bedrock of retirement for nearly a century facing this kind of shortfall? It all boils down to a simple, slow-moving shift in our country's demographics. Think about the ratio of workers paying into the system versus retirees taking benefits out. When Social Security started, and for a long time after, there were tons of workers for every one retiree. Back in 1960, there were about 5 workers for every person getting a Social Security check. Today, that ratio has dropped to just about 2.7 to 1, and it's expected to fall to around 2.3 to 1 later this century. Two big trends are driving this. First, the enormous baby boomer generation has been trading in their work boots for retirement. Second, birth rates have been falling for a long time, meaning fewer young workers are coming up to replace them. It's like a family budget. For decades, the family had 5 high-earning adults and just 1 person to support. Now, it's closer to 2.5 earners, and that number is still shrinking. You can see the budget squeeze coming from a mile away. For years, Social Security was taking in more cash than it paid out, which is how it built up that huge trust fund. But that party is over. The program is now paying out more than it collects in taxes, and it's been dipping into the trust fund, both the principal and the interest it earns, to make up the difference. That's why the savings are shrinking and why we're headed for that 2033 cliff. Okay, let's make this personal. What does a cut of, say, 20% actually feel like in your bank account? The average Social Security retirement benefit in 2026 is estimated to be around $2,080 a month. A 20% haircut on that is about $416. That means the average retiree's check would suddenly drop to about $1,664. That's a loss of nearly $5,000 a year. For millions of people, that's their entire grocery budget. And this isn't just a trim for the wealthy. It's an across-the-board cut. Whether your check is $1,200 or $4,000, it would shrink by a fifth. For the tens of millions of seniors who count on Social Security for most or all of their income, a cut like this would be absolutely devastating, pushing many into poverty. This isn't some distant problem either. Someone retiring today at age 62 will only be in their early 70s when these cuts are projected to hit. This is a crisis that will unfold within the retirement of millions of Americans who have paid into this system their entire lives. The security they were promised is at risk, not because of a market crash, but because of political paralysis. Here's the good news. This problem is completely fixable. The bad news? All the solutions involve politically tough choices that Washington has been allergic to for years. Lawmakers have a few main levers they can pull, and most experts agree the final fix will likely be a mix of them. First, they could bring in more money. A popular idea is to raise the cap on income subject to Social Security tax. In 2025, you only pay Social Security taxes on the first $168,600 of your earnings. The official 2026 cap hasn't been set yet. Some proposals would raise that cap to $300,000 or even get rid of it, making high earners pay in more. Another option is to slightly raise the payroll tax rate itself, currently 6.2% for employees, but that would hit every worker's paycheck. Second, they could reduce benefits, but in a more gradual, targeted way than the automatic cliff. The most talked about idea is to slowly raise the full retirement age, which is currently 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later. Some plans suggest nudging it up to 68, 69, or even 70 over many decades. The thinking is, as we live longer, we can work a little longer. Other ideas involve tweaking the formula for the annual cost of living adjustments, or COLAs, so they grow a little slower. The point is, the toolbox is full of viable solutions that have been studied to death by actuaries. The problem isn't a lack of options, it's a complete lack of political will to sit down, compromise, and pick one. And the longer they wait, the more painful the fix will be for everyone. So, this is where you come in. We can't sit around and wait for the politicians to ride to the rescue. Their strategy for a generation has been to kick this can down the road. But while they delay, the clock is ticking on your retirement. It's time to shift from a mindset of dependency to one of empowerment. You have to take control of what you can control. That means building your own financial security, separate from what the government may or may not provide. Max out your 401k or IRA contributions. Get serious about creating a budget and a long-term financial plan. Start treating Social Security as a potential bonus, not the foundation of your retirement. And if you want to stay on top of this issue with no spin, straight-up analysis, and learn how to build a rock-solid retirement in these shaky times, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll keep tracking the real numbers and the potential fixes so you can make the smartest moves for you and your family. The truth about the confirmed Social Security cuts is both better and worse than the clickbait suggests. It's better because the program isn't going away entirely. But it's worse because the projected benefit cut is a very real threat written into current law. It's the default outcome of decades of kicking the can down the road. While we should all be demanding that our leaders in Washington finally get their act together, we can't afford to bet our futures on them. The most powerful move you can make today is to become the CEO of your own retirement. Plan as if the cuts are coming. Save and invest to build your own safety net. Turn their failure to act into your opportunity to build true financial independence. The government's promise might be shaky, but your power to prepare is entirely in your hands.